Greetings, friends, and welcome to Captain Samuel's Birthday Jubilance. It's my birthday, and there aren't any used bookstores near me. So, around this time, I make a mystical journey to far-flung bookstores, and I try to time it around when they're having a half-off sale, and so I got 2 sacks of books, most of them for about 50 cents to $1 each. So at the end, I'll show you a pan shot of the majority of the books. Right now, I just want to show you the ones that are a little bit noteworthy and I want to discuss a little bit in depth. And I'm going to show these in order of less interested I am in reading them to most interested I am in reading them. Although I'm interested in reading all of these books, otherwise I wouldn't have picked them up. Okay. First up, we have The Fellowship of the Talisman by Clifford D. Simic. Now, everybody loves Clifford D. Simic but me. I read Macedonia by him and was astonished at how someone could take the concept of time travel and dinosaurs and make it so dull. But, I try to give authors a couple chances, and this is a science fantasy, so we'll see how it goes. I'm going to give Clifford Simic another chance with Fellowship of the Talisman, and hopefully it'll be a little bit better for me. Now this one, to be honest, was a cover purchase. That is so 80s. Planet of the Dead by Don Wismer. Basically, everybody's wearing like this 80s headband with like these fros, and I loved it, so I had to pick that up. Now, I looked into the author a little bit because this book featured a black main character, or at least one of the central characters was black. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. You don't see that often in vintage speculative fiction. So I did a little research into the author to see if this was kind of a Steve Barnes Street Lethal kind of situation. But no, actually, Don Weisber, not a lot of information out there, but I found like an old website of him. And he's a white dude, but he's also very outspoken in his Jewish faith, and he's into the martial arts. So the only picture I found of him was him in his martial arts uniform wearing his yarmulke. So this should be an interesting blend of different, I guess, religious traditions and an interest in martial arts. So it's basically like a cyberpunk dystopian pulp book. Yeah, we'll see what's going on. The call goes out to the Guild of Thieves, unorthodox warriors who fight with psi powers and samurai tactics. Planet of the Dead. See what's going on with that. Okay, so for a while I did Aikido myself, and I also spent a little time in a Zen Buddhist monastery. So mindfulness and enlightenment and all those kinds of groovy things are of interest to me. So this looks like an interesting book, Wayfarer by Dennis Schmidt. And apparently this guy has to develop some kind of super weapon. And he says, but first you'd have to learn to wield the weapon that is no weapon. And that only where there is no will, there is a way. And then this is a little goofy. It says, his name is Jerome. This is his story. He is the Wayfarer. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I opened up the first chapter, read a little bit of it. A little bit lore dumpy. But, hey, I paid like 50 cents for this, so if it doesn't work out, no worries. I was talking with Deb on her channel a little bit, the Omnivorous Reader, about other authors that begin with E. And a while ago, I reviewed a Lord Hedrick book by Gordon Eklund. It was okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It was okay. Every time I've gone to this bookstore for the last couple of years, this Gordon Eklund, The Garden of Winter, is sitting on the shelf. It's like a post-apocalyptic story where I guess 2 people have to rebuild the world. Yeah, Gordon Eklund was all right. Give this a chance. Garden of Winter. Oh, yeah. This is one I'm going to get so I can read in the waiting room of job interviews. Harry Harrison's Bill the Galactic Hero on the Planet of Tasteless Pleasure. So they didn't have the first Bill the Galactic Hero book. And usually I prefer to begin series at the beginning, but it's tasteless pleasure, whatever. So I picked this up. And Probably I'll read this around Veterans Day because I'm planning to read the rest of Joe Haldeman's The Forever War, and that's a heavy read. So after I'm done with that, I might read this one as a lighthearted palate refresher. Now, sometimes when I'm in a bookstore, I don't want to waste money on books that I'm not going to read, and I have limited shelf space. So sometimes I'll pick up a book, put away, think about it, pick up a book, put away, think about it, and then sometimes I'll pass on the book, and then the whole long ride home I'll be like, nuts, I should have bought that book. So these days, if I'm on the fence about it, I just go for it, especially if it's cheap. And this was Mutant 59, The Plastic Eaters. I'm not sure I'm going to like this one. I guess some kind of man-made bacteria appears and eats all kinds of plastic. And then it also says that, I guess, some kind of Christmas ornament comes to life or something. I don't know. It sounds really wild. I opened it up and it was mostly just pages of scientists having very scientific style data crunching discussions. Who knows? But now I've got it. And I won't have to spend the rest of my life looking up at the moon going, oh, Mutant 59, The Plastic Eaters. If only I'd bought you. I wonder what it would be like. Now I'll find out. And this is by Kit Pedler and Jerry Davis. I have no idea who they are. Eric Van Lustbader has a trilogy, and they all have really good Don Mates art. And so I ordered the complete trilogy off of eBay, and I had a couple offers going at once, and I didn't realize which seller I was talking to, so I accepted an offer, and when I got them in the mail, I realized I accidentally ordered ones that have this big UPC thing over top of the Don Mates art, and I was like, no, but the bookstore had, yeah, buddy, the complete art. And I love it because these skeletons look like they're just having a wild time. They're just burning shit down and waving their flag and spinning their flails around and just rocking out. So now I've got an edition that has the full Don Mates art. Now I still need the first book in this series that doesn't have the UPC on the back. But the main one I wanted was the skeletons because that's just great. I love it. And those are like a post-apocalyptic samurai style of book. And then I said there was a trilogy. Sometimes books are like a trilogy, and then the author adds on a fourth book at the end, but it's not quite a quadrilogy. It's like an extra thing added on. I don't know, man. Everything's complicated. This apparently is the fourth book in that series, also by Eric Van Lustbader. Beneath an Opal Moon, again with rockin' Don Mates cover art. I love Don Mates. I've got a home gym that I've made out of a shed, and on the wall, I've got the Don Mates art for Claw the Conciliator up on the wall. Love me some Don Mates. So this is The Yellow Fraction by Rex Gordon. I have some Rex Gordon on my shelf called Utopia Minus X, and I haven't read it yet. But this sounds interesting. It's about people on a planet that have terraformed it. And it says, the Green Party said, let's change the world to fit humanity. The Blue Party said, let's change people to fit the world. And the Yellow said, let's just go somewhere else. And I guess the Yellow fraction is unpopular. But then they build some kind of super starship that gives them kind of a might is right edge or something like that. Just sounds interesting. And I like the cover art, too. Very vintage on that. People living under the glass dome. Well, this guy's off to the side, feeling left out. Wah, 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 wah. Don't worry, buddy. It'll be all right. This was another book that I was like, oh, man, I don't know if I want this. But I got it. Herman Wouk. The Lomacome Papers. So, Herman Wouk, I guess, mostly wrote fiction, and I guess this is one of his few science fictions. This guy, I guess, lived to be 104 and is a combat veteran of World War II. And it is about people meeting extraterrestrial life, I think, on the moon. But it's all written as, paperwork reports, like officer logs and intelligence reports. It's also just got cool art in it, too. It's part of why I got it. Yeah, I don't usually like fake encyclopedia entries and stuff in my books, but it just looks so weird that I was like, I want to try this. I like looking for weird stuff. Find something new. And speaking of which, I like Zach Hughes and I like Vincent King because their books are off the wall. I forget where I read it, but somewhere on the internet I was looking at like a list of other authors like Vincent King and Zach Hughes, and Charles Platt popped up. So this is Planet of the Voles. I love the cover art on that. Those mystic pyramids. And it's a little hard to tell, but at the bottom there you've got people with little mushroom hats. Very cool. And this is about a starship where everybody gets wiped out except for the starship's artist and kind of like basic repairman. And they go to the planet of the Voles to try to get some payback, I guess. But the planet of the Voles, according to this, worship beauty, ruled by women and devoted to beauty. Okay, all right. I just like that name, too. Planet of the Voles. As an aside, I live in a really old house, and I try so hard to keep rodents out of my walls, but there's this vole that like comes up through the ground and into my foundation, and it runs around in the wall behind my bedroom at night, and the cat goes nuts. And yeah, I'm into this book. I want some payback against the voles myself. They got to find somewhere else to live. They don't pay my mortgage. So I reviewed the Book of Rack the Healer by Zach Hughes, and it was just like a random book. I wasn't expecting much out of it. It did have some flaws. It had been expanded into a novel from a short story, and therefore had some fluff. But aside from the fluff, I really enjoyed that story by Zach Hughes, and I was so pumped to find a whole stack of Zach Hughes. So we've got The Legend of Myri, which is a little bit of a ancillary novel to Rack the Healer. I think it's like set in a similar universe or something. Same for this one, The Omnificence Factor by Zach Hughes. And this is cool. Laser Books 49, Tiger in the Stars. And it says, disembodied, doomed to forever wander the galaxy in search of his former existence, John Planck's hold on reality is tenuous indeed. And if you have purchased my book, the Book of Deogenesis, and happen to know my real name, then you'll know why I appreciate the name of the character in this book. Cool beans. We'll see what mischief John Planck gets up to here. And this is what I'm so excited to read. I've already started reading it, and wow. It does not disappoint. For Texas and Zed by Zach Hughes. Out of all the books I got, this was the one I was most pumped for. I was like, no way they've got For Texas and Zed by Zach Hughes. And I'm about this far into it. You ever seen that picture of Lady Gaga where she did that magazine cover or whatever, and she covered her entire naked body in pieces of raw steak? This book is like that picture, but with her wearing a cowboy hat. And I'm pumped to finish this one. I'm having a good time with it. Okay, so that's the ones that I wanted to zoom in on. And now I'll show you kind of a broad picture of the other ones I picked up. Okay, here's a quick view of the other books. First of all, we've got a cat keeping an eye on things. This is a graphic novel based on Norse mythology. Some Brian Aldiss. A couple of Robert Silverberg hardbacks. A series by M.J. Bennett. A trilogy by Wayland Drew. A whole bunch of Jack Chalker. He's everywhere. That worries me sometimes when you find an author on the shelf all the time. A couple of Philip Jose Farmers. I like the cover art on this one. The Cabal the Evangelist by Philip Dunn. We got some Fongor by Lynn Carter. Gotta have Lynn Carter. Ted White. Not familiar with him. And that's it. Meow, 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 meow.